After my surgery, I couldn't walk for weeks. She said she'd be there for me. One day, I woke up alone, no food, no medicine. I crawled to the living room and found a note. "You're dragging me down. I need to breathe." I never heard from her again, until she showed up at my door 6 months later, crying, saying she made a mistake. And that's when I opened the door just enough to tell her. I had just finished wiping down the counters when I noticed the bottle of pills was almost empty again. I remember standing there in my kitchen, hand on the edge of the sink, thinking, did I already take my dose today? That's the kind of question you start asking yourself when you live alone after a major surgery. Every small mistake has big consequences. You forget one dose of pain meds, and the pain creeps in until you're curled up on the couch, teeth clenched, trying not to pass out. Take it too early and you're groggy, helpless, half-conscious in a body that doesn't move right. 3 months out from the surgery, and I still wasn't right. I could walk, technically, but it was slow, shaky, and only with a cane. My left leg was still stiff and weird. I was still afraid to go out alone. I had groceries delivered, barely talked to anyone, and most days I wore the same worn-out pair of sweatpants. The silence in the apartment got heavier at night. I'd lie there thinking about her. Her name was Rachel. We met at a bookstore in Philly, where we both reached for the same copy of Slaughterhouse-Five. That kind of moment that feels cute at first and later turns into a long, complicated story. We lived together for 3 years. She had this way of making normal things feel important, like remembering to defrost chicken before I got home or writing little reminders on the fridge. She'd make my coffee just the way I liked it. I used to think, this is what commitment looks like. When I found out I needed surgery, real, invasive spinal surgery, I was scared. I'd never had anything that serious done to my body. The doctor said the recovery would be long and rough. I'd need help. I didn't have family close. But Rachel was right there. "I've got you," she said. "We'll get through this." She was good at pretending she meant it. She came with me to the appointments, asked the nurses smart questions, picked up my prescriptions, held my hand during the worst parts. I trusted her. Fully. It never crossed my mind that she might not actually want to do any of that. Surgery day came and went. I was groggy, in pain, but alive. The first week home, she was there, helping me shower, get dressed, get from the bed to the bathroom. She cooked for me, checked the med schedule, made sure I didn't fall asleep without eating something first. But then one night, she just wasn't there. No explanation. No text. I thought maybe she went to work and got stuck late. I figured she'd be back the next day. She wasn't. The next morning, I woke up freezing, in pain, soaked in sweat. I reached for the pill bottle, but it had rolled off the nightstand. My cane was across the room. I was too weak to get up. My phone was dead. I remember lying there, too dizzy to cry, thinking, she'll walk through that door any minute now. She didn't. I crawled. In. Across the carpet. My left leg dragged uselessly behind me. I got to the living room and pulled myself up onto the couch, reaching for anything, food, water, something. That's when I saw it. A note, taped to the TV screen with a single piece of Scotch tape. I knew her handwriting immediately. "You're dragging me down. I need to breathe." That's it. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I can't do this anymore." Just that. I think I read it 10 times before I even reacted. Then I sat there in my own apartment, unable to move, reading those words like they were a sentence I had to memorize for a test I didn't know I was taking. She didn't call. Didn't check in. Didn't tell her sister. Nothing. Gone. The next few weeks were hell. I couldn't cook, couldn't walk right. A neighbor found me collapsed in the hallway trying to get my groceries. That same neighbor's kid, 15 years old, ended up being the only person who helped me for weeks. He brought me food and meds. Didn't ask questions. Just showed up. I got better. Slowly. I did all the physical therapy alone. Pushed through the pain. Learned how to climb stairs again. Eventually, I could get to the corner store without help. I stopped looking at my phone wondering if she'd text. I told myself if she ever came back, I'd know exactly what to say. And then 6 months later she did. She knocked on my door around dinner time. I just finished microwaving some soup. I opened the door, and there she was, wearing that same green jacket I used to steal when I was cold. Hair tied back. Eyes red.
Crying.
She looked smaller somehow, like the months had shrunk her. Or maybe it was just guilt. I made a mistake, she said quietly.
I didn't say anything.
I just stood there, one hand still on the door. I was scared, she continued. I didn't know how hard it would be. I panicked. I wasn't ready. But I never stopped thinking about you. I looked at her for a long time. I thought about all the things I could say. You left me to suffer. You didn't even call. You made me believe I wasn't worth the work. Instead, I opened the door just enough, looked her in the eye, and said, "You did what you wanted. So did I." Then I closed it. Not a slam, just a quiet shut. I didn't look out the peephole. I didn't wait to see if she left. I went back to my soup. And I didn't explain myself. I thought that would be it. I really did. After I shut the door, I expected her to disappear again. I thought maybe that was her moment of guilt, and now she'd move on. Maybe she was just trying to ease her conscience. But she didn't leave. A week later, I saw her car parked at the end of my block. Same dented bumper. Same faded sticker on the back. She didn't knock again. She didn't call. Just sat there, engine off, staring at the building. I ignored it. The week after that, a package showed up at my door. No return address. Inside was a small box with some old things. A hoodie I'd forgotten I left at her place, a photo strip from that booth at the shore, a paperback I once lent her. No note. Just those things. I didn't bring them inside. I left the box in the hallway. The next day, she knocked again. This time, I didn't open it. "I'm not here to make excuses," she said through the door. "I know what I did. I was selfish. But I miss you." I didn't respond. She kept coming back. Once a week. Sometimes with something small, my favorite coffee, a takeout container from the place we used to go. She wasn't angry. She wasn't dramatic. She just stood there and waited, quiet, like she was hoping I'd eventually open the door and forgive her. I didn't. I didn't because I couldn't forget crawling across the floor, shaking with pain, seeing that note taped to the screen. "You're dragging me down." Like I was nothing but weight to her. But I won't lie. Part of me was starting to feel something. Not hope. Not love. More like confusion. Like something unfinished was still hanging in the air. Then one night, around 11 p.m., I heard another knock. I thought it was her again. But this time it was a man. Tall, maybe early 40s. Dressed too nice for my building. "Are you James?" he asked. "Yeah." He looked uncomfortable. Glanced down at something in his hand. "I'm Rachel's ex-husband." I didn't even know she had an ex-husband. She and I split 6 years ago. I haven't seen her in a while, but she called me 2 months ago. Said she was in trouble. That she'd made a mistake leaving you. I stood there, waiting for the point. He looked me in the eye. "She said she lost everything. That you were the only person who ever really stuck. She told me she needed help, said you wouldn't forgive her, but she couldn't let it go. That she needed to explain." I didn't say anything. Then he handed me an envelope.
"She wrote this."
Told me if she couldn't say it to your face, someone should at least try to get it to you. He turned and walked away. I stood there with the envelope in my hand. Heavy. My name written across the front. I didn't open it. Not right away. Instead, I sat on the couch and stared at it. My left leg started to ache, like it always does when it rains. I thought about everything she didn't tell me before. What else I didn't know. And for the first time in months, I felt unsure of what I wanted next. I kept the envelope on the coffee table for 3 days before I finally opened it. The letter inside was long. Handwritten. Not her usual rushed handwriting either. It was careful, like she'd gone slow on purpose. The first part was everything I expected. Apologies, regret, how she couldn't forgive herself for what she did. But halfway through, things shifted. She wrote, "You think I left because I was tired of helping you. But that's not the whole truth. I was tired of pretending I wasn't already gone. I started pulling away before your surgery. I just didn't know how to tell you. Then came something worse. I wasn't honest with you, or with myself. Right before your surgery, I reconnected with someone. Someone I used to know. It started as a conversation. Then it turned into more. I told myself it wasn't serious, that I was just scared, that I'd still come back. But the truth is, I didn't leave because I couldn't handle your pain. I left because I thought I found something better. She didn't name him. She just said it fell apart fast, and she realized she made the worst choice at the worst time. She ended the letter with, "I'm not asking for another chance. I just didn't want to keep lying. If you hate me, I understand. But please know, I didn't leave because you were weak. I left because I was." I read it twice. Then a third time. The twist wasn't that she cheated. I guess I'd already suspected something. It was that she did it during the hardest point in my life, while I was prepping for surgery, trusting her with everything, lying in that hospital bed thinking she was the one person I didn't have to worry about. And she was already gone. Already with someone else. It hit different. That night, I took the old hoodie she sent in the box, walked out behind the building, and dropped it in the dumpster. Then the photos.
The book.
The envelope. I didn't want anything from that time in my home anymore. The next morning, there was another knock at the door. This time it was my neighbor, Paula. Older lady, mid-60s, lives 2 doors down. We talk sometimes. She brought over a small tray of muffins and asked if I was doing okay. Said she saw the same car, Rachel's, parked on the street again the night before. "Don't let people back in just because they show up crying," she said. "Sometimes crying's just how they avoid the truth." I nodded. Didn't say much. She reached out and squeezed my arm gently. "You're not the only one she did it to."
That stopped me.
"What do you mean?"
I asked.
Paula looked away for a second. Then she said, "She was staying with me for a while. After she left you, she didn't have anywhere else to go. Told me all kinds of things, none of them lined up. She was a mess. I let her stay 3 nights. On the 4th, she stole from me." "What?" "Nothing huge. A little cash. My medication. A ring I'd taken off in the kitchen. I asked her about it. She vanished the next morning." I felt a cold weight in my chest. "I didn't know who to tell," Paula said. "But I figured maybe you should know." I stood there in silence. Not because I didn't believe her, but because everything clicked into place. Rachel wasn't just someone who made a mistake. She wasn't overwhelmed or scared or fragile. She was someone who walked away from people the second they stopped being useful. That conversation with Paula sat with me. It wasn't just what Rachel had done, it was how she moved through people. Like they were stepping stones. Like anyone who helped her was just a temporary stop until she felt suffocated again. I went back inside and sat on the edge of the couch. My leg was aching again, same spot as always, but I didn't reach for the meds. I just stared at the wall for a long time, thinking about how many pieces of her story didn't make sense. Like how she said she'd been staying at a hotel when she left, but her name never showed up on any charges in our shared bank account. Or how she told me she left because she panicked, but somehow had time to pack up half her clothes and take her passport. Little things I ignored before started to feel like alarms. So I did something I hadn't done in months. I logged into the old email we used for our shared apartment bills. I wasn't looking for anything specific. Just needed to see something that made sense. Instead, I found a forgotten draft folder. And inside it, I found emails Rachel never sent. One of them was to someone named Alan. It was dated 2 weeks before she left me. "I can't keep doing this with James. He doesn't even see how checked out I am. I'm only staying until after the surgery. He needs someone to wipe his ass and keep the meds straight. After that, I'm gone." I read that line over and over. My hand was shaking. There was more. "You said I could come stay with you. If you mean that, I'll pack this weekend. I don't care how pathetic it looks. I just need to be somewhere that doesn't feel like a ********************************************************** hospital." I clicked through another draft. A letter to her mom, unsent. I don't want to be the bad guy, but I can't be his nurse. He's not my husband. He's not even really trying. I've got one life, and I'm not spending it cleaning up after someone who's falling apart. It was like reading something written by a stranger. I thought about all those days I waited for her to come home. All those nights I told myself she must be hurting too. That maybe she left in a panic and felt awful about it. That maybe she missed me. Turns out, she was already planning her exit while I was learning how to take a step without collapsing. I didn't even know who Alan was. But apparently, she thought he was a better bet than me. More alive, I guess. Less of a burden. She didn't leave because I needed help. She left because I needed her. And I guess that was too much. That night, I took her number out of my phone for good. Blocked her email. Turned off notifications for that account. I didn't need any more ghost stories. But the next morning, I got a knock on the door again. This time, it was Alan. He didn't say his name right away. I had to pull it out of him. Said he found my address on a letter Rachel had left behind when she moved out of his place. She told me you were still hung up on her, he said. That you were dramatic. Controlling. I almost laughed. She told me you used her. That she felt trapped. That you threatened to hurt yourself if she left. That stopped me cold. I stared at him, my hands clenching at my sides. I came to see for myself, he said, looking around like he expected the place to be full of beer bottles and broken things. But you don't look like the guy she described. I stepped back. You believed her? I asked. He shrugged. I did. At first. But then she disappeared again. Took money. Took stuff. And I realized she'd said all the same things about her last boyfriend too. And her sister. And her old boss. He shook his head. I think she just needs people to blame. He handed me an envelope. She left this at my place. Had your name on it. I wasn't going to bother, but I guess you deserve to know she hasn't stopped lying. I took the envelope. He turned and left. Inside was a photo of the two of us. Me and Rachel. From a trip to Maine. Smiling. Her handwriting was scrawled on the back. He thinks I'm still in love with him. I'm not. But I might come back if things don't work out here. I sat on the couch, envelope in hand, staring at that line. She was never coming back because she missed me. She was coming back because she ran out of options. I don't know where she is now. I stopped checking. There's no closure letter I'm waiting for, no final talk that'll fix any of it. People like her don't say sorry. They just circle back when the world stops clapping. And the worst part? For a long time, I would have let her in again, just so I didn't feel so alone. But now I know, being alone hurts less than being used.